How's it going, YouTube? Biker Mike here. Welcome back to another how-to video. This video is going to be on installing this Badlands 3,500 pound ATV winch on my 2009 Yamaha KODIAK 450. As you can see, I already have the install done, but I left all the panels off so I could show you guys how I installed it. So it was quite a bit of work doing this. I've never done one before, and it took a lot of time to plan it out, where I was going to locate things, like the relay switch here, and the plug for the remote on it. I decided to go with putting it in this spot. I'll talk more about that in a bit, but I just wanted to give you a quick rundown. I bought the winch on sale. It was 20% off, so it came to like $111, and that came with the remote, and it came with the steel cable, which I took off because I opted to go with the rope cable, and it actually came with its own little fair lead, so I put that on there, and the other one's right there. If I ever want to switch back to the cable, I can. So I'll get started with down here mounting it up. It came with a mounting plate. I'm not sure. Yeah, you can see it in there. And I was able to get 4 bolts up into the winch from down underneath. I just had to pop that bolt out of the skid plate and another one right there, and I was able to pry the skid plate down far enough that I could run the bolts up into the winch through the mounting plate, and that all went on real nice and simple. And then we'll go back here. We'll start with the electrical. So it came with these self-resetting breakers that are just kind of open air ones that kind of are left exposed. So I wanted to make sure it wouldn't ground out on anything. So I just mounted it back here in the trunk, and I just drilled a hole there and down in there, and then just secured it with a zip tie. So moving up to the battery, it was just enough battery cable to run everything pretty much perfectly. I just had a little excess of the negative cable, and I may go back and buy another end for it and shorten it, but for the meantime I just looped it up, and I might just leave it like that. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so just a heads up, I found out after I installed this that the seat was pinching these wires. So what I did was shaved off the high points on the back of the seat, so you could see how I had those marked off, and I just took my die grinder and ground them down, and it stopped pinching on the wires. And that was the only problem I had with this install. So just a heads up, if you're gonna locate your relays in here like I did, just be aware that the seat will pinch on the wires if you route them up over top there and there, and you can see the little indents in them. And I just didn't want the wires to break underneath the coating, so that's all I'd had to do, and it was a real simple solution to the little problem I had there. I thought about drilling all the way through the trunk and the back of the battery thing here, but once I got looking at it, I realized I could just grind this down and everything would work perfect. So there is a little lip in there too. I ground that and that side and this off, and a little bit off here, and a little bit off there. It worked out great, and it solved the problem. Yeah, everything I just zip tied in place. I had to remove the seat, obviously, the shroud over the gas tank, the front rack, and the hood. So that's all I had to remove to do this whole job, so that wasn't too bad. So I just ran the power leads up along underneath the frame and just kept it all nice and neat and zip tied secure. And you can see just down along there, down that one down tube up there, and then I mounted, like I said, the relay switch panel right here. Get lots of zip ties before you do this job because you're going to need them. And I just drilled a hole on the inner fender well there, and then ran the zip tie through and around the relay switch. I don't know if you can see it there, but it's down near the bottom of it. But that held it real nice and secure. It's not going anywhere. And then, yeah, so the power leads come up to the relay switch. Like I said, I didn't have to cut them or shorten them. They just bolt on there and there. Now I left that one exposed because it's just the negative terminal, so you can't really ground it out on anything. But all the other ones, I made sure to use the little boots that came in the kit. And you can see they're all color coded. So that's the yellow post for the yellow cable that goes down to the winch, and they're both color coded on the winch too. You can see the blue there and the blue cable up to the blue post, and so on and so on. So that all was straightforward and simple. And you know, I just had to loop some extra wire up out of the way, just make sure it wasn't touching the radiator, and keeping everything free and clear of like the suspension, like the shock. You know, just use a bit of common sense when you're doing this. Make sure everything's routed in nice and neat and up and out of the way, so you don't end up pinching any of the cables, or they wear on anything, or get melted by anything hot. So that's what takes time. You know, just take your time with it. I'm not an expert on this, so this is just a guide. I mean, I'm sure there's people that can do a lot better job, but like I said, it's the first time I did it. This is how I did it, and everything works, and I think it'll work out fine. So back to the remote port here. I just put, again, zip ties through and just tighten them up, and that holds that nice and secure. I mean, it's not going anywhere. It's right in the grill, so I don't know if I'll keep it there, but I thought it was just a neat spot for it. I didn't want to put it on any of the panels that you'd have to remove regularly, because then you're stuck with this connection on your panel, and you might need to get at something and the wire's in the way. And I just wanted everything nice and simple, so if I have to take the hood off, I don't have to worry about any connections other than the 12-volt power one that has a connector on it, because all this stuff is all hardwired. So you just got to make sure you're putting it in the spot where you want to keep it. So yeah, that's the power leads down to the winch, all up and out of the way. And the handlebar switch was simple to mount, just 2 bolts on it. Now the wire, I just ran it down the handlebar, zip tied it, and down through here. And it's all, I kept the full length of it, so I just wire tied it and folded it up underneath these relays here, and then just ran the leads all nice and neat, zip tied down to the relay switch. Now for the remote cable, it came with a lot of excess, so I had to cut it. It's just you know, a short little one. Try to get a light on that too so you can see it. And I just zip tied it up along there, and then I had to cut it and then reconnect them. So I just used these shrink wrap butt connectors that I bought from China. Actually, a few months ago, I bought them, I think, for like $2 for the package shipped right to my house. So I bought a bunch of different sizes, knowing that someday I would use them on a future project, and sure enough, here it is. They worked awesome. The shrink wrapping shrinked right nice and tight to the wires, so it seals it all off, waterproof, no soldering. Just made the job nice and simple, and the finished product's nice and neat. That's the whole thing. You keep it nice and neat and it's usually a good job. So like I said, I'm not a professional, but I thought this turned out pretty good, and everything works just the way it's supposed to. Maybe I'll do a review on the winch sometime in the future after I've actually used it. So if you guys are planning on picking one of these up and doing this yourself, the whole idea is just take your time, plan it out. If you have a Kodiak and you want to copy some of my ideas, that's up to you. Like I said, I'm not a professional, so things might not be 100%, but I'm pretty sure everything's good and I'm going to be happy with it for mine. But the whole idea is just take your time and do everything neat and plan it out. So there you go, guys. Another Biker Mike how-to. Hope you guys liked that video. If you liked the video, hit the subscribe button and the like button. Leave me a comment. And like I said, hit that subscribe button. That's pretty much the most important thing for me right now, and the best way that you can say thanks. Biker Mike out.